Hi guys, it's Breacher18 and I'm joined by
George
and
Ben.
And today we are going to have a look at a game coming soon to Kickstarter. It's called Problem Picnic Attack of the Ants. This is a dexterity game, and basically you are trying to collect certain things on a picnic in order to get points. So let's take a look at the game. This is the setup for Problem Picnic Attack of the Ants. As you can see, I have set it up for 4 players. There are variations in setup and I will put pictures of them on there for you to see. I've only put 2 different coloured dice out just so it makes it easier and there's not too many components sort of cluttering the shot, so it's easier for me to explain and for you to understand. The general gist of Problem Picnic is you are rolling dice, it's a dexterity game, and you are trying to claim these items for the picnic, and once you have claimed these, you then build them in your tableau and try to meet these conditions to gain the points that they are worth. So each dice acts in a different way. So for this dice, for example, this is a soldier dice, so it's heavier, so it's good for knocking other dice out of the way, and also it doesn't matter if it's not touching anything at the end of the round, you still get that back, and I'll come on to losing dice at the end of the round in a bit. The worker dice are these ones here, and there's nothing really special about them other than the size of how many ants are on each side, so the probability of getting more ants is different. And then these little ones are scouts. Now scouts are unique in the sense that if you roll them and you miss where you want to roll it to, or you don't land on anything, you actually get to re-roll it again one more time. So that's the benefit of them. So each turn, starting with the first player, you will roll a dice. So for example, I will try and roll this. You're not allowed to move beyond your ant hill. So this is your ant hill. As you can see, it's indicated by the red flower, as I'm the red player. And you roll it, and I've successfully landed on that piece of watermelon there. So it passes round the table, each player getting a chance to roll a dice of their choice. So someone could roll a dice, and for example, this is great because someone's actually landed on the same watermelon as myself, and we've both got equal amounts of ants. So what you want to do is you want to get the most ants to claim that piece of picnic food. Once you have done that, at the end after everybody has been, you take that piece of picnic food and put it in your tableau. So for example, neither one would have won this, and then it goes on to the biggest dice, but this is still a draw, so no one would win this in this example. But for example, say if I managed to get another dice on it like that, I would win this. So because I won the picnic food, these 2 dice would get put in the pond, and this would go back to the player because they weren't successful, and then I would take this watermelon, I'd turn it over to this dark side, and I'd put it in my tableau like that. Now if we look at the objectives down here, we've actually got most blue plates with watermelon. So if we get the most of them at the end of the game, we will get 5 points. And once everybody's had their turn and dice that haven't landed on anything are returned back to the players, the picnic table then gets replenished. So we would put another one out like that. After the first round, the person who's currently last in terms of having food in their tableau would get a round card. There are 6 round cards in the game, and this symbolises 6 rounds of the game, so it's a great way so you know when the game is ending. Each round card has a special ability. So for example, hold this card 6 inches over the picnic and drop it. Any dice that this card remains covering, even partially, are immediately sent to the puddle. The stomping foot card is then discarded. So that's really, really cool. If players are all on one piece of the picnic and you're like, I don't want them to get that piece of picnic, so you just drop that, and then you could send all of their dice to the pond, and they don't get those dice back till the next round. So although scoring with your dice is really good, unless it's the soldier ant
all the scoring ants will go to the puddle. So it's something you need to think about. So this will continue over 6 rounds, and then once the game is ended, you will total up each person's tableau and you'll go through the winning conditions. So for example, most watermelon, most blue plates, most sandwiches, most green plates, things like that. So this one, most columns with exactly 1 of each food in is worth 4 points. If there's a tie between 2 players or even more for the same winning condition, they will take a 2 marker token there. And then after that has all been done, the player with the most points wins.
So, what did we think to Problem Picnic? We'll start with George.
I liked it because you got to make it like people went organised with what you do, so you know what you do with the ants, so you don't flick like that, you flick like that and know what you're going to do, and you don't just flick it any old place.
Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, so basically...
It makes you organised.
It makes you organised. So you have certain objectives throughout the game, and each objective will have different points for those objectives, and you will be trying to achieve them, and you'll do that by rolling various dice. And when you get those cards from the picnic, you create like a little tableau, and how you organise them actually affects what points you get. So whether you have them in a straight line or if you have them in rows and columns. So yeah, it makes you sort of organise them like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you liked about it. Ben, what did you like about the game?
Well, I really enjoyed playing Problem Picnic, and I thought it was a very good game, and I liked how you had to roll and you could knock other people off.
Yeah. So the big dice.
Yeah.
And you could, because that was obviously the heaviest dice,
Yeah.
you could use that to sort of fire at all the other dice and sort of move them out of the way. I really liked that element of it. So obviously it was a dexterity game, but there was very much of a take that nature to the game, which I loved, because if they were getting stuff that I didn't want them to have, I would go in there with that big clunky dice and just fire at them and then just like literally knock them all over. Having said that, it did sometimes go horribly wrong for me, and I'd end up knocking my own dice off stuff that I wanted, which you found very funny.
Yeah, and I also like the fact that each dice, they all have like different shapes, and they have different abilities.
Yeah.
And your heaviest dice actually has the least ants.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you don't get that on, because it's mainly meant for knocking things off and
Yeah.
not for cleaning stuff.
But if you do actually get it on a card at the end, you get that one back rather than
Yeah.
it going into a pond.
And I also think it's good how you have like round cards, because if you've like got the least cards and you're not doing as well, you get like a round card which like gives you a special ability.
That's
So
right.
you
It
can
helps basically balance the game out, and it means that there's no runaway leader. So it does help you out. So if you're not doing as well as the other players, it gives you a chance to sort of get back into the game. Having said that, on both times that I played the game, George absolutely trounced me. You beat both me and Mum, didn't you?
I came second on the first go, but on the second go, I came first. And also, I like it how there's that there's a round card that can change your other person's display.
Yeah, that was nasty.
And I honestly knocked him out. I honestly knocked him out by making his cookies in a different way. Like, there's a token that says if you have the most cookies, you get a token.
Yeah, with
and I
points.
wiped him out.
Yeah, so there was
totally
one
did.
bit where Ben had like a whole row of cookies, because that was one of the objectives, and George got a round card that allowed him to swap 2 cards around in someone's sort of tableau, and he just swapped them around, and Ben didn't like that so much, did you?
He always does it on games, doesn't he?
Yes, but that's a compliment, because you were doing really well at the time. You were clearly winning by a country mile, so you can't moan too much.
No.
But all in all, I have to say, I've played quite a few Scott Elms designs, and this is actually my favourite, and the fact that it's been brought to Kickstarter by Helena and Josh Capel, who've done the artwork, and the fact that they've collaborated to help kids table board gaming. I think it's a fantastic production. I really like what I've seen so far, so definitely get on Kickstarter and get backing.